Hello, this is Brad or Brad Wild. I'm here in Las Vegas at KLAS. We're going to be flying the JAR A320 Airbus up to San Francisco, KSFO. We're cold and dark and want to see if we're going to need some fuel. I've been to fuelplanner.com. We're going to need 6,000 kilograms, so let's pull our truck up and see what we have. There we go. So we'll increase this up to 6 and begin our fueling. Shouldn't take long. There. So we'll send our fuel truck packing and then we can start our ground power. Turn that up a little bit. So first of all, our batteries. We have external power available. I'll go ahead and set these before I get yelled at. And I'm going to turn on our beacon and nav lights so that people on the ground know what's going on. And overhead lights. Now time for our APU. Hit the master switch and start and wait for the sound. Alright, we have our APU started. Turn on the bleed so we get a little air conditioning going in the back. And then we need to get our ADARUs aligned. So place that switch on status. Data switch and then the system switch to 1. Turn each of these mode switches to nav and wait a second for our prompt to enter our position, and time to navigate is 7 minutes. So that gives us plenty of time to get things started. And now that we have our APU bleed, I can send our external ground power away. Pop down to the panel and turn on our radios. In anticipation, turn on our lights. Still not available here, but we can go ahead and start programming the FMGC via the MCDU. So here we go. I'm going to open this up a little bit so I can see my flight plan that I've gotten from flightaware.com. Just want to make sure I see that I'm going to be using the Diamond Star. So we can go ahead and, since we're here, go ahead and finish off our fuel panel. Now we can go over to init. Normally I would do this on my iPad because it's much faster, using Air FMS. And we'll align our IRS. Put in a fake flight number since we're just using the Airbus livery, Airbus 111. Cost index will be 45, which is the medium. And we'll leave our cruise altitude until we get a flight plan in. So we're going to be flying from KLAS. We'll be flying from KLAS. Our departure, we're going to use runway 1 right, and we're going to be using the Shed 9, and we'll be transitioning, if you see over here, at Kino, and we'll go ahead and insert that. And you can see by comparing these with our list over here these are correct. Now let's put in our arrival. We're going to be arriving on 28 left using an ILS approach. And if you look over here, our star is going to be diamond. I guess that's the correct one. Whoops. And I'm going to click no via, but I am going to put in our transition of rush me and insert that. Then I'm going to compare these points over here. So I'm going to need lane, always, flowers, seeds, freely, Archie, and Heyman and Duet are actual waypoints on the ILS. Now, JAR has been known to have some pretty weird transitions for the star due to a bug, so let's just see where we are here. It looks pretty kosher, so I think we're good to go. Just put us back to our starting point and finish programming. Put in a cruise altitude of flight level 320. Fuel panel, still good. Go to our performance and just click in our V1 speeds. And a transitional altitude here in the US, 18,000. Flex will be 44. And flaps will be the standard 2.0. And we do not need to shift our takeoff point. And just quickly go through these screens. This we will take care of on approach. So back to our flight plan, and now we can get our engine started. And now we can call our tow. Just want to make sure our doors are closed. Yep. And we can also put our emergency lights on arm. So let's call the tow. We're going to be turning our tail to the east. Our runway is over in this direction. Park brake off and let's go. Goodbye tow. And back into the cockpit. Fuel pumps need to be turned on, all 6 of them. See how our ADARUs are doing. Just one more minute. And turn on our, whoops, I should have turned on our seatbelt before the tow. My bad. Put our engine mode switch to start.
Starting engine 1.
Ah, there he is. The reassuring voice of our co-pilot. We can close this back up now. While we wait for the engines to spool up, I have checked my SID, and our initial altitude is 9,000 feet. I can change this to US. There we go. 29.92. I'll just go with the standard for now. And you can see that our engine 1 is up. And we'll start engine 2.
Starting engine 2.
Yeah, I feel sorry for the guy that was standing in the aisle when we called the tow. Let's check we're aligned. Yes, the Adaroos are aligned. Our N1 setting, and EGT. So we can put this on normal. And I'm going to elect to turn off our APU now that the engines are running. So our packs are still on. So let's arm our spoilers.
Spoilers arm.
And get a notch of flaps in there.
Flaps 1.
Or 2.
Flaps 2.
So we are ready to taxi now. Again, going to be headed over in this direction. I'll spare you the long taxi over there and meet you at the end of the runway. So here we are at the end of runway 1 right, and let's just do our last minute prep for takeoff. So we'll turn on our strobe lights and landing lights. Turn on our nose wheel for takeoff. Our initial altitude is set. We do need to set our auto brake at max. Our baro is set. We want to set our selector switch to arc, and 10 miles is a good range. And turn off our packs. And now we're ready for takeoff. Release the brake. Begin taxiing out. I'm going to have my hand on the G key and the 4 key. One to raise the gear and one to disarm our spoilers after takeoff. Go ahead and start our clock. And we're doing the rolling takeoff. We're not going to stop.
Power set.
So G key and 4 key.
100 knots. V1. Rotate. Gear up. Positive climb. Spoilers disarm.
And we'll crank up our speed to
Standard baro cross-check. Passing flight level 025.
and our level climb is flashing, so I'll pull it back to our climb speed. Make sure that we are not above 18 degrees, and I'll engage our autopilot.
Autopilot 1, cross-check.
And begin our turn towards Bessie. Turn our packs back on. Nose light off. And
Speed checked, flaps 1.
And let's increase our speed to 190. And we can put our
Speed checked, flaps 0.
last notch of flaps up. And let's go ahead and go to 220. Nose comes down to pick up speed. I'm hearing an annoying buzz on and off. I'm not sure what it is. I've never heard that before. Nothing's flashing. So coming up on Bessie. Airport just below the right wing. Whoops, left wing. And we're making our turn towards Mad Dog. And we're coming up on 9,000 feet, so our throttles have come back. We've reached our speed. But let's take it on up to flight level 320. Let's go with 250. So I click that. And notice our speed bug is now at 250. And I could go ahead and you see flight level 320, and as our speed hits 250, we get our rate of climb indication. We'll zoom out a little bit here. And you can see our route. We do not need to see airports. Now we're at 10,000 feet. And I think what I'm going to do, I don't want to go with, I guess we'll go with 280 for right now. Let's make it 300. And that's too much for me. So we can turn off our landing lights. And we're beginning our climb now to flight level 320. The next thing that will happen, besides our turn here at Mad Dog towards the west, will be setting our standard barrel. So as we come around those mountains, we'll soon be headed to the northwest. Coming up on flight level 180, we should see our barrel begin to flash. it is. So we can pull that. Notice the pull is the whole hand as opposed to the little pointer. And I can finally see our top of climb out here. I'm thinking we'll get there sooner than that. Alright, I'll let the speed bug go on up to the standard. Well, it's about 338 knots. So the nose comes down to build up a little speed, and then we'll begin our climb again. So I'll get back to you when we get a little closer to our cruise altitude. So here we are coming up on our flight level 320. And because I increased our rate of climb, we're going to be there a little bit early. So we can let the people get up and go to the bathroom, get their drinks. And we can see our transition in the distance here, Kino. So we're coming up on Rushme, our waypoint that is going to send us to the west. Just catch this up here.
We are close to top of descent, sir.
We are not close to top of descent, but that's what we get. So here we are turning over western Nevada, and there is nothing out here, folks. Just dirt. So let's see where our top of descent is. Crank this up. So it's about 120 miles out. So I'll get back with you as we come up on our top of descent. So this is Yosemite Village down here, El Capitan. And this is the back of Half Dome. I've actually hiked to this area, and it's a great view of the valley. So I just wanted to point that out. If you've never been to Yosemite, it's absolutely breathtaking. So the next thing I want to do is take a look at my approach chart. So as we approach, I want to take a quick look at two of my charts. Here's my SID, diamond, and then all of our waypoints that are on our MCDU to Archie. And then our approach, ILS approach to 28 left. Here's Archie. Here is the programmed Heman. And we need to be at 3,100 feet. So I like to dial this a little bit closer. And we'll go to 3,000. And we can really press it at any time, but being the perfectionist, I like to wait until we're right on top of it. So we're leaving the Sierra Nevadas, and just a quick look out the window, entering the Central Valley of California. So we can begin our descent now. I want to manage descent. So if you look here, with the absence of the word open, we have a managed descent. We're not asked for any drag, so things are good. We could probably get everybody seated again. So here we're coming up on 18,000. Looks like we're a little bit fast, and I haven't been asked for drag, so I will add my own. Spoilers half.
Spoilers full.
But more importantly, we need to set this to our standard, or to whatever the airport is, and I'm just going to use 29.92, which is standard indeed. So we need to be at 10,000 feet at our little hashed circle just past the seeds. So at flowers, let's see where we're supposed to be. Right now we're coming up on 16. We should be right on the mark. So now that we see that our engines have spooled up, we can pull back on our
spoilers half.
Spoilers till we see this drop back to idle.
Spoilers retracted.
Sacramento way off in the distance. And the bay off in the distance here. Get our range down to about 20. Looks like we've crept up a little bit here.
Spoilers half.
See, the FMS knows that we're going too fast, so it's got to get the nose down. So now the nose can come up now that we're slowing down our speed a little bit, and now it's dropping to 300. It's preparing for 250 as we approach the 10,000 mark. We can go ahead and turn on our landing lights. In the very south part of the bay here. So spoilers are half, and our engine is just starting to come up a little bit. We're dropping to 250.
Spoilers retracted.
So we are now at the 10,000 foot mark, speed dropping to 250. And as we go below 10,000 feet, we want our landing lights on. And let's go ahead and click our ILS button. And we can check our radio navigation to make sure our ILS frequency is correct. So click here, ILS 109.55. So we are good. Airport off in the distance. Here's San Jose, KSJC, Cupertino, headquarters of Apple. Alright, continuing our approach into San Francisco. Oakland is off to the north of us. Coming up on Archie. Now here's where we're going to begin our deacceleration. We should be at green dot speed at that point. And that's where we will begin our approach phase. Sorry for any of the jumps and starts. I'm having frame rate issues and have to reset my rendering options. So we are now ready for approach phase. We'll go over to the performance page.
Approach phase activated.
And if we wanted, we could put in this, but I just put in standard for our baro, but you could put in winds and temperature if it really matters. And now we're waiting for these. They have appeared, so we can go ahead and click our approach. And we need more drag.
Spoilers half. Spoilers full.
We do not want to have spoilers out when our flaps start to come down. So we want to be at 3100 at Heman. Looks like we're going to make it. And it looks like it's captured our localizer, so I can go ahead and click
Autopilot 2, cross-check.
Autopilot 2. And just to be on the safe side, I just go ahead and dial this down.
Go around, altitude set.
Not really.
Go around, altitude set.
There we go. I think it's 4,000. There we go.
Go around, altitude set.
So you can see that our guide slope and localizer bugs are lining up nicely.
Speed checked, flaps 1.
Now, it's interesting, I didn't get the green dot. We are still 9 miles out, so we're doing fine, and we have captured the guide slope. We just need to make sure that we slow down, and putting a notch of flaps down will do that.
Speed checked, flaps 2. Radio altimeter alive.
So we can go ahead and change our rows to ILS. Auto brake to medium. Spoilers armed.
Spoilers half. Spoilers retracted. Spoilers arm.
So let's put our gear down.
Gear down. Speed checked. Flaps 3.
And our PAPI lights are showing us right on the mark. 2 red, 2 white. And we want to watch our N1, and yes, the engines are spooling up a little bit with everything hanging out.
Speed checked. Flaps full. 1,000.
So now we're just interested in watching for our landing green and then flare. Make sure everything is copacetic.
500. 400.
Land green checked.
Here's our landing indication.
300.
And next we'll see flare.
200.
100 above.
100. 50. 40. 30.
Have my finger on
Minimum.
the throttle. Says flare.
Retard. Retard.
Pulling back
retard.
on the throttles.
Retard.
Ground spoilers.
Retard.
Nacelle.
Retard. 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 Retard.
I think I've got a button set incorrectly on
70
my,
knots.
So 70 knots is where you turn off your reverse engine. Well, they didn't know it got a little hairy there at the end. Yeah, I think I've got a button incorrectly set on my flight stick. And we can go ahead and start cleaning up the aircraft.
Flaps 3.
Waiting for a gate.
Flaps 2. Flaps 1.
And the airplane looks pretty cleaned up. So I think I'm going to call this a wrap.